Well, hello there. Good afternoon to you all. So, this will be a video basically about one of my anime pickups, or a series that I recently ended watching. As a fact, I ended watching the last movie of the series um, half an hour ago. So, well, the series that I'm speaking of. It's a series that has a couple of years now aired. It aired between 5 of October of 22 until 27 of September of 23 with 15 episodes, and is called Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. I recently did a video that I'm doing, and after this one I will upload more. I think at least one video about in that segment. And well, I did make a video about the Gundam series on general, but I did make a point that I only watched so far all the great part of the Gundams that happened in the UC system calendar. Now, this series happens in a different calendar, in a different timeline or parallel timeline, and in this case, this is the Cosmic Era or CA. So, basically, the background of the story is that at this point, mankind kinda is divided into species: the naturals that are living on Earth mainly, and they also have some space colonies, but mainly they are living on Earth and are what they call the Earth Federation, and the coordinators that are enhanced humans with great abilities and specially apt to pilot mobile suits because they have their genes altered, and thus they are better at understanding, better at sports, better at understanding informatic stuff, so on and so forth. And basically, this series follows the adventure of a young coordinator called Kira Yamato that is living in a space colony called Heliopolis that belongs to a country of Earth called Orb. But this country is kinda neutral. It does not side with the Earth Federation or the Earth Alliance that are composed by several group of forces, and the coordinators that basically are living in the so-called planets or space planets or stations, and they have their own military force, the so-called Zaft. And basically, uh, happens, and this is a situation that I did enjoy a lot of the series, but I need to point out that this series has a lot of points in common with the first Gundam series that aired back in 1979 80, called Gundam, because basically at that time we also have two forces: the Earth Federation and the Principality of Xi'an that represents the space colonies. And in this series we have again the Earth Federation forces and the Zefts and plants that represent the space colonies. Uh, and even and this is also a point that are similar, because in the UC universe the space colonies are giant models where humans live, and in this this also happens. Also, we have again points in common between the character of this series called the main character Kira Yamato in the way he became the pilot of the Gundam that he was able to rescue from Heliopolis before the colony be destroyed by Zeth forces, and this is very similar to what happened to Amuro Ray, the main character or one of the main characters of the first Gundam series. Also, we have a guy called Roll Le Creuset that basically is very similar in a way to Char Aznavour. So, well, this series, I kinda get the feeling that did try to make kinda remake of the first series, but in a different timeline, in a parallel timeline. And well, I like a lot of the story, without a doubt. And this was, honestly, being blunt, the first one that I watched outside the UC calendar, and I did enjoy it a lot, even with these similarities and others that I will not focus here, obviously. But I do read that this series was very well liked in Japan, there, but this series did receive a lot of criticism by some reasons I did point out and others, obviously. But nonetheless, this is a very interesting series. We could divide this in three moments mainly. The first part of the series, the first 20 episodes of the series, were basically the struggle of Kira and the crew of the Archangel ship to reach the areas that are commanded by the Earth Federation forces, even in space. And basically, during all this time, they were being pursued by this guy, Le Creuset, Raoul Le Creuset, and his team of mobile suits that basically were mobile suits that were stalling at the beginning of the series. And one of the pilots of this mobile suit force is a guy called Atron Zala, that is a childhood friend of the main character, or one of the main characters, Kira Yamato, obviously. And we also have other important characters. We have Mula Flaga, that is one of my favorite characters, without a doubt. I was kinda shocked at the end of the series when the guy died, but I also know that in Gundam Seed Destiny there is some stuff relating with him, so I'm looking forward to watch Gundam Seed Destiny, that I will be doing obviously after this. I don't know when I will be able to release a video about it, but I will promise that I will also make a video when I finish Gundam Seed Destiny. Also, we have other interesting characters. We have Sei, we have Tole, we have Miriela, we have Muru, Captain Muru, we have the Lieutenant Bad Burial, I think that's how to pronounce the name, and we have Flay. And honestly, about the Flay, at the start I was thinking what an annoying character she is, and later on, as the series evolves, I was thinking what a bitch, literally, because of stuff that she is doing. Even if I do understand the reasoning, nonetheless, she acted like a bitch, put it bluntly. So I disliked a lot of this character since she begins to move or to have a more important role in a way in the series. But at the end of the series, at the end of the series, you honestly will feel sorry for the guys that were with Kira, for the guys that were against Kira. Well, a few exceptions should be made. Rolocuzet was a bastard. Patrick Zawa, the leader of Zap, was another one. the Azrael Murure, or Murure, the leader of Blue Cosmos, that is a group of naturals that basically want to obliterate all the coordinators, is also a sick bastard. Alongside the other three guys that are with him, that are mobile suit pilots, they are sick, pretty sick, psychopathic, and so on. So, but with the exception of these characters, even the guys that at the first part of the series did fight against Kira, this saying the group of Atrum, the Arca, Nicole, it was a tragic character, and Isaac, even if those guys also at the start you kinda have the feeling that you wait to get in the least two of them you seriously dislike them. Um, they are also at the end of the series they are all in a way heroes, and that's one of the most interesting things about this series. Even Flay, at the end, in my opinion, I will not say well she died and she redeemed herself. No, I will not say that. But at the end of the series, the character of Flay, I kinda basically the feeling that I get about this character is feeling sorry about her life, basically. And it's a tragic character in his own accord. So, but basically, the first part is the pursuit of Le Creu's team to the Archangel and the Gundam, and we have a lot of battles where Kira fends off the attacks. The second part is when they arrive at Earth, and after joining or attempting to join with the Earth forces, but there is a battle in the outer parts of our planet, and then the ship was forced to land in, I think it's the desert of the Sahara, Libya, Tunisia, Egypt, in that location, and they were forced to land there. And then we have the introduction of another two characters, one that already appeared in the beginning of the series, but we never see her again, called Kagali, and it's also a very important character. And Commander Watfield. I even if this guy appeared as an enemy, I did enjoy and liked a lot of this character, and I was kind of bummed at the end of the second part of the series, where apparently Commander Watfield was killed in battle. But also before that, we also have the introduction of another character that will be very important, especially on the third part of the series, called Lakos Klein. And Lakos is a very interesting girl. She is also a coordinator, and is the daughter of the former president of the plants. And it was at some stage the fiancée of Atrum Zala. But the second part of the series is very interesting because it happens in Earth. We have, instead of space battles, we have battles on the ground, and the story of the characters, the struggle of the Archangel to reach Alaska, that is the main headquarters of the Earth forces, and all the sacrifices that are carried along the way, and the grand standoff between Kira and Atrum, and also the death of two close friends of both of them. One was Nicole, another one was Stolle. That was very sad to watch. And then the consequences of that. But that was done splendidly well. At the same time, we have the third part. In this second part, we also have the situation that they kinda walked in into Orb, and they met the leader of Orb called Lord Uzumi, that is the father of Kigali. And we also have some backstory about Kira and Kigali. And we, at the end of uh, this, the third part, when they did reach the Alaska headquarters, but then the Earth forces kind of forsaken the land, and there was a massive attack of Seth in that place, and the Archangel was left out to be bait alongside with other forces at that, and that this time Kira was in the plans because Kira was saved by a priest that is a friend of the Plines, and he carried him on to the world of the coordinators. And then we have Lacus, and Lacus basically gives Kira a new Gundam that is able to travel in space, and he arrives at Alaska and eventually saves the Archangel and helps the Archangel reach again Orb. And then we have the third part of the series that is against, in the first part of this we have the attack on Orb because after the destruction of Alaska and eventually as a payback the Zaft forces destroy Panama, that was the other remaining base of the Earth forces. They kinda tried to take over Orb, that was a neutral country, but as a spaceport to send forces and resources to space to fight. And we have the fight around Orb, and we have again the reunion with Atrum and Kira and Kagali, and it was amazing. Then we have the when Orb was destroyed by decision of Uzumi, we learned that Kira and Kagali were basically twins, brother and sister. And then we have the second part of the series that happens in space again, between the Archangel that deserted the Earth forces and the survivors of the Orb country in the ship Kusanagi, and later on they were joined by the Eternal, that is a ship that is led by Lacus Klein and other members of Zeft, or of the plants that disagree with the ways of uh, doing the war. And basically we at that time we do found that Commander Watfield is alive even if he was seriously wounded, and he's kind of the captain of this ship. Uh, in ultimate stance, the supreme commander is Lacus Klein, but the commander of the ship is Commander Watfield, and that was very interesting when the three ships alliance is formed. We have members of Orb, we have members of the Earth forces, and we have members of ZAF that basically want to put an end to this war, to put an end to this conflict between the naturals and the coordinators, and that's very interesting. Then we, in this part, we do learn the the backstory of Kira and Kigali and why they were born and all that's going on around that, and we also learn more about the past of Lieutenant Mu Laflaga. It's very interesting, and we also learn the past of Raul de Cruz. It's very interesting, and then we have a great final battle because the Earth Federation, Raul de Cruz basically is the great villain behind all this because he manipulated the Earth forces, he manipulated the plant forces or Zaft, and basically his goal is to exterminate mankind for good. And we have a great showdown at the end of the series, and well, in the end, after much sacrifice, the war kinda ended. And in resume, that's the series. Obviously, I will not dwell into it into very deep. You should watch the series. It is very good. It's good, excellent. Well, it's excellent. Um, I liked a lot. And if and after the series, we have a OVA of 5 minutes about what happened after this battle. You should also watch this. It's enjoyable. It's 5 6 minutes, and then we have 3 movies that were made, and basically the movies are kind of the retelling of the story, and they add some scenes that were not in the series, and they also uh, corrected some stuff. They make connections in another way. They gave us some explanations on some parts that were not portrayed on the series. So if you are going to watch this, you watch the series, then you watch the OVA, and then even if kinda even if it's kind of feeling that you are repeating the series, watch the 3 movies because they were very good, and they also add information, they correct some stuff, and only watching all you will have a full understanding for what is coming next in Gundam Seed Destiny. So, well, that's it. This is my final impressions on Gundam Seed. If and I no, I will not rate this series. You should watch it and you should rate it according to your own liking, not according to my own. So, if you do not know the series, I highly recommend that you watch the series. If you know and are simply curious to see someone talking about it, well, I will thank you for watching this video. I know this is perhaps quite long, but I'm happy that you watch this video. So stay well, peace, see you soon.